Good afternoon and salam perpaduan. This is Updates at Noon. I'm Mohana Priya. Making the headlines today, government aspires to good governance and corruption-free practice. Maybank confirms data leak claims are false. The government will continue to ramp up efforts to boost foreign investors' confidence to invest in Malaysia through good governance and corruption-free practice. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the government has received a list of investors from countries, including those around Asia, who will be monitoring developments in Malaysia, especially from the economic aspects.
Selain berkestabilan politik dan tadbir urus dan tata kelola yang lebih tersusun baik, ialah dengan usaha mempercepat proses kelulusan dengan menjamin kepada mereka bahawa Malaysia ini tempat bukan untuk orang pemimpin-pemimpin menggondol kekayaan, bukan mencari helah menerima komisen.
Datuk Seri Anwar said this in his New Year message during the Munajat Ambang Tahun Baru 2023 program. The Premier also does not want political shortcomings in the country to continue, saying that the practice of using positions within the government as an opportunity to amass wealth must be stopped. Government agencies are also reminded to adopt a culture of moderation and to prevent wastage. He also noted that efforts need to be taken to enhance religious understanding among Muslims and non-Muslims to prevent the seeds of Islamophobia that have been planted since colonial times. Datuk Seri Anwar also noted that despite the New Year's Eve being celebrated through munajat at mosques, the message behind it was for all Malaysians and not specifically for Muslims only.
Tanggungjawab negara Islam itu menawan, menjamin keadilan bagi orang Islam dan bukan Islam. Dan inilah harus menjadi mesej kita yang jelas. Apalagi bila masyarakat bukan Islam di negara kita ini adalah warga negara yang harus dipelihara, dipertahankan hak mereka, sama ada dalam ibadat atau bahasa dan budaya mereka. Dan ini jaminan yang harus diberikan tanpa merasa sedikit lemas. Tidak akan menghakis peranan Islam sebagai tunggal.
The Premier last night joined in a congregation of over 2,000 people in a Solat Hajat and Yasin recital in conjunction with the Munajat Ambang Tahun Baru 2023 program at the Putra Mosque in Putrajaya. Datuk Seri Anwar had called off the 2023 New Year's Eve celebration, which was scheduled at Dataran Merdeka due to flood disasters that hit several states in the country recently. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Ministers Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi and Datuk Seri Fadilah Yusof also took the opportunity of wishing Malaysians a Happy New Year. Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid, through a video posted on his Facebook account, called on Malaysians to work together to strive towards excellence in 2023.
Saya berharap kita semua akan sederap bersama-sama memperkasakan komitmen dan terus memacu kecemerlangan untuk tahun 2023. Pastinya segala kejayaan akan kita raikan bersama. Kita sama-sama tangani dan harungi cabaran yang mendatang demi negara yang kita cintai. Saya komited untuk memikul pertanggungjawaban yang diamanahkan, insya-Allah. Harapan saya, kita terus berganding bahu agar Malaysia terus maju di bawah kerajaan perpaduan Malaysia ini, insya-Allah. Selamat Tahun Baru 2023. 2023.
Meanwhile, Datuk Sri Fadilah, in a post on his Facebook account, expressed his hope that Malaysians will work together hand in hand to get back on their feet following the COVID-19 pandemic and be prepared to face the global economic recession. He also called on the people to live in the spirit of unity and celebrate differences to build a stable, peaceful, prosperous and harmonious Malaysia. Malayan banking berhad Maybank has confirmed that allegations regarding a purported customer data leak by a third party are false. In a statement, the bank reassured its customers that their data remains secure and private and that no customer data has been compromised. Maybank said it will continue to prioritize its cybersecurity and data protection aspects and guarantee that customer data protection is their utmost importance. The statement added that an investigation was carried out by the bank the moment they received the news. According to a Facebook post, a website had listed details of 3.5 million Astro subscribers, 1.8 million Maybank customers and 7.2 million voters at 7:56 p.m. on 25th December. The leaked information allegedly involved the login ID, full name, date of birth, address and identity card numbers. A spectator was killed after being hit by a race car during the CCT Battle of Champion race at Datuk Sagor Circuit in Pasir Salah yesterday. Perak Police Chief Datuk Sri Muhammad Yusri Hassan Basri said the victim, aged 32, died while being treated at Changkat Melintang Hospital in Lambu Kanan. The autopsy revealed that the victim, a workshop operator, died of injuries to his head and bleeding in the lungs. Investigations are ongoing and the case has been classified as sudden death. The spectator was killed at around 3:30 p.m. when two of the 12 vehicles which were making a turn during a race touched each other and crashed to the right of the circuit and into a grassy area, hitting him. Datuk Sri Muhammad Yusri said the victim, who sustained severe injuries, was treated by medical officers at the circuit before being taken to the hospital for further treatment. An unemployed man who is under police probation was found dead in front of his house in Taman Klebang Putra, Cemor in Perak on 30th December. Perak Police Chief Datuk Sri Muhammad Yusri Hassan Basri said the police rushed to the scene after receiving a distress call at about 11:30 p.m. and found the man's body in front of the one-storey terrace house. According to a relative of the deceased staying in the house, he heard someone knocking at the door and heard voices saying that the victim had been knocked down. The witness opened the door and saw a motorcycle, but the model and registration number could not be ascertained, fleeing from the scene. The body was sent to the Raja Permaisuri Bainun Hospital for post-mortem, and an autopsy by the hospital's forensics department confirmed the cause of death was due to multiple blunt force trauma. The case was classified as murder. Datuk Sri Muhammad Yusri said a suspect aged 27 years old was arrested yesterday to assist with the investigation. He said the man is believed to be involved in the murder and the police are now tracking his other accomplices. The suspect will be taken to the Ipoh Magistrates Court today for remand application and the case is being investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code. Coming up in our foreign segment, EU to discuss joint COVID response to China arrivals.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam perpaduan. Saya Saifuddin Nasution Ismail mengucapkan selamat tahun baru 2023 kepada seluruh rakyat. Marilah kita bersama-sama memperteguhkan tekad dan iltizam kita menjaga keharmonian kaum serta bangkit bersama memulihkan ekonomi negara. Saya memikul tanggungjawab seiring slogan keselamatan tanggungjawab bersama serta mendukung pemerkasaan aspek keselamatan dan ketenteraman awam. Harapan saya, semoga Malaysia terus maju, makmur dan sejahtera menjadi negara yang baik untuk didiami sekalian rakyat jelata. Selamat Tahun Baru 2023.
You're watching Updates at Noon. EU countries will meet next week to discuss a joint response to travellers from China amid concern over the country's explosion of COVID cases. Incoming EU presidency holder Sweden said it is seeking a common policy for the entire EU when it comes to the introduction of possible entry restrictions. Stockholm, which takes over the rotating EU presidency on 1st of January, said it had called a meeting of the Council's crisis management mechanism, the Integrated Political Crisis Response (IPCR), for Wednesday. Beijing has abruptly ended its zero-COVID policy, resulting in an explosion of infections in the country, which has prompted several EU member states to impose COVID tests on travellers from China. France, Italy and Spain this week imposed COVID testing requirements. Germany, while saying it saw no need to impose routine tests, is seeking a coordinated system to monitor variants across European airports. The European branch of the International Airports Council said that imposing restrictions for travellers from China was neither scientifically justified nor risk-based. The Federation, which represents more than 500 airports in 55 European countries, said the identification of possible new variants that could emerge in China could be detected with genomic sequencing of airport wastewater analysis without the need to test travellers. North Korea fired one short-range ballistic missile into the sea today as Pyongyang pressed on with last year's record-breaking blitz of launches. The New Year's Day firing reported by the Yonhap news agency was the second in as many days. It came from the Yongseong area of the capital Pyongyang and landed in the East Sea, also known as the Sea of Japan. The Joint Chiefs of Staff said it detected the latest launch at 2:50 a.m. local time, and the missile flew some 400 kilometers before splashing into the sea. Military tensions on the Korean peninsula rose sharply in 2022 as the North conducted sanctions-busting weapons tests nearly every month, including firing its most advanced intercontinental ballistic missile ever. Yesterday, the North fired 3 short-range ballistic missiles a day after South Korea successfully tested a solid fuel space launch vehicle. That North Korean launch also followed the incursion of 5 North Korean drones into the South's airspace earlier in the week. Monday's North Korean drone incursion was the first of such incidents in 5 years and prompted an apology from Seoul's defense minister after the military failed to shoot down a single drone despite scrambling jets for a 5-hour operation. Meanwhile, a fresh round of explosions rocked Kiev less than an hour into 2023 after Russia had attacked Ukraine with missiles targeting the capital and other cities ahead of New Year's Eve celebrations. The first blasts of the new year began roughly 30 minutes after midnight, hitting 2 districts in the country. It was reported that at least 1 person died as a result of the attacks, while 22 others were injured. One explosion tore open one corner of the 4-star hotel Alpha Vito in Kiev, spilling rubble onto the street. Strikes were also reported in the southern city of Mykolaiv, where a local official said 7 people were injured. The attacks came as Russian leader Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine enters its 11th month, with Russian strikes systematically targeting energy infrastructure, leaving millions in the cold and dark in the middle of winter. As Ukraine continues to rely on military support and aid from Europe and the US to repel Russia's attacks, French President Emmanuel Macron promised yesterday to help Ukrainians without fail until victory. Myanmar's military extended its ceasefire agreement with ethnic armed groups until the end of 2023. According to a statement released by Office of the Commander-in-Chief of Defence Services, the military has extended the ceasefire agreement with ethnic armed groups for 21 times, from 21 December 2018 until 31st December 2022. After inviting the ethnic armed organizations for peace talks on 22nd April 2022, State Administration Council SAC then held talks with representatives of 10 ethnic armed organizations. They include 7 organizations that are signatories to nationwide ceasefire agreement and 3 non-signatory ethnic armed organizations. According to the statement, the ceasefire agreement was extended to boost the peace process in the Southeast Asian country. Croatia has switched to the euro and entered Europe's passport-free zone, 2 major milestones for the country after joining the EU nearly a decade ago. At midnight last night, the Balkan nation bid farewell to its kuna currency and became the 20th member of the Eurozone. It is the 27th nation in the passport-free Schengen zone, the world's largest, which enables more than 400 million people to move freely around its members. Experts say the adoption of the euro will help shield Croatia's economy at a time when inflation is soaring worldwide after Russia's invasion of Ukraine sent food and fuel prices through the roof. But feelings among Croatians are mixed. While they welcome the end of border controls, some worry about the euro switch, with right-wing opposition groups saying it only benefits large countries such as Germany and France. Many Croatians fear that the introduction of the euro will lead to a hike in prices, in particular that businesses will round out price points when they convert. In sports, Arsenal goes 7 points clear with win over Brighton.
The number of malicious and false statements spread by SMS or social media platforms have become too widespread. The public is advised to be careful and not fall for such ploys and sharing or forwarding such messages. Remember that spreading fake news is an offence under Section 233 of the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998. This carries the penalty of a fine not exceeding 50,000 ringgit or up to 1 year imprisonment or both upon conviction.
Badminton Association of Malaysia, BAM National Junior Development Director Datuk Misbun Siddiq has set a realistic target of having at least 1 national shuttler competing in the final of the 2023 Malaysia Open. According to Datuk Misbun, Malaysia Open is the first badminton tournament for this year, and it would be a great start for the country if the national players can achieve positive results.
Saya tengok mereka sudah berada di tahap dunia. Cuma sekarang ni daripada prestasi yang kita akan lihat daripada saingan-saingan daripada beberapa negara yang kita dah tahu mereka adalah tonggak daripada tournament besar begini. Cuma kita lihat sajalah apa yang akan berlaku.
A lot of hopes are placed on men's professional ace Li Zijiao, world champions Aaron Chia and So Wu Yik, as well as French Open champions Perli Tan and M. Tina, in order to ensure that Malaysia can become a champion once again on their home turf. The last time a national player won the tournament was in the 2018 edition, where the Dato' Lee Chong-wei beat his Japanese opponent Kento Momota in the final stage. The 2023 Malaysia Open will be held at the Axiata Arena in Bukit Jalil from the 10th to the 15th January. Kelantan United FC, KUFC, will be using the services of imported coach Thomas Truka, who was with Penang FC previously, for next season. KUFC President Rosie Mohamed said Truka would replace Samsul Saad, whose contract as chief coach had been terminated. Rosie said Truka has experience in the Malaysian League M League, having coached Penang FC for 2 seasons from 2021 to 2022. He said apart from helping Penang FC to 3rd placing in the Super League last season, Truka had also coached clubs in other countries like the Czech Republic, Botswana and Kenya. In the Premier League last season, KUFC finished 5th and qualified for the Super League next season. Rosie said the 51-year-old Truka's tactical acumen would be able to help his team scale greater heights. He added for next season, almost 95% of KUFC players will be new faces, including imports. He said their names will be announced in due course, and despite being among the underdogs, the team is aiming to qualify for the Malaysia Cup. According to him, the club had allocated 4 million ringgit for the team's preparations. Bukayo Saka and Eddie Nketiah grabbed early goals in each half for Arsenal as they won 4-2 away to Brighton and Hove Albion in the final Premier League game of 2022 to open up a 7-point lead at the top of the table. Saka scored just over a minute into the game as Gabriel Martinelli's shot was deflected into his path and he cushioned the ball with his first touch before deftly guiding it home with his second. Leandro Trossard had a couple of decent chances for the home side before Martin Odegaard added Arsenal's second in the 39th minute, pouncing on a loose clearance and driving a shot that bounced up and into the net. The league leaders look to have wrapped up the victory just after the break as keeper Robert Sanchez spilled another Martinelli shot into the path of striker Nketiah and he bundled the ball home from close range. However, a Kaoru Mitoma goal in the 65th minute threw Brighton a lifeline, and though Martinelli netted a 4th for Arsenal from a stunning Odegaard pass, Evan Ferguson made it 4-2 to set up a grandstand finish. Arsenal topped the standings on 43 points with second-placed Manchester City on 36 and Newcastle United, who drew goalless with Leeds 2 points further back in third. Meanwhile, Manchester City slipped off the pace in their bid to catch up with Premier League leaders Arsenal as they were held to a 1-1 draw by strugglers Everton. Pep Guardiola's side came into the match as the league's highest scoring side, but they were often left frustrated by their opponents. Erling Haaland made a positive start for Guardiola's men when he latched onto Riyad Mahrez's pass to tap home his 21st league goal of the season. After a number of stoppages early in the second half, with one taking over 6 minutes as the assistant referee's communications headset was repaired, Demarai Gray levelled for the visitors. The Everton winger surged up the left-hand flank in a rare counter-attack before cutting inside and unleashing a curling effort from the edge of the box, which left City goalkeeper Ederson beaten. The hosts battled back in an attempt to clinch the 3 points, but Everton's resolute defending, especially during the 11 minutes of added time, kept them at bay. Real Madrid's Brazilian forward Vinicius Jr. accused the La Liga of continuing to do nothing about racist fans at matches after videos on social media showed fans shouting abuse and throwing objects at him at a match on Friday. La Liga issued a statement condemning all forms of hate speech and saying it was following up on instances of racism at the match. Vinicius appeared to be subjected to abuse at the Jose Zorrilla Stadium in Valladolid as he walked past fans after being substituted in Real Madrid's 2-0 win over Real Valladolid on Friday. In September, Atletico Madrid fans were filmed directing racist chants at the 22-year-old outside their Wanda Metropolitano Stadium ahead of a match against Real. In its statement, the Spanish top-flight league said it was looking into Friday's match. It said La Liga has detected racist insults from the stands of the Zorrilla Stadium, published on social networks. It said the facts will be reported to the Anti-Violence Commission and the Public Prosecutor's Office for Hate Crimes. The league detailed how it had addressed incidents of racist abuse towards players in the past and said it will continue to fight against the scourge of violence, racism and intolerance in sports.
sejahtera dan salam perpaduan. Kesihatan dan kecergasan adalah kekayaan bagi setiap individu. Tahun 2023 diharap terus mewarnai hidup kita dengan aktiviti-aktiviti sihat seluruh rakyat Malaysia. Marilah bersama-sama saya, Hannah Yo dan Kementerian Belia dan Sukan meraihkan tahun 2023 dengan tekad dan azam melihat golongan belia kita terus cergas, sihat serta aktif sebagai generasi masa hadapan negara. Saya dan Kementerian Belia dan Sukan akan terus meningkatkan martabat sukan negara serta merealisasikan kod sukan selamat kepada semua. Saya menyeru seluruh rakyat untuk kekalkan gaya hidup sihat, bertenaga di samping bersama-sama menjaga keharmonian dan perpaduan. Selamat menyambut Tahun Baru 2023.
And with that, we end today's updates at noon. In our top story today, government aspires to good governance and corruption-free practice. Tune in to News at 10, coming up at 10 p.m. on My Freeviews saluran Berita RTM, channel 123. Now, here's a clip of New Year's Eve celebrations around the world. Thank you for watching. I'm Mohana Priya. May the New Year be filled with joy, fun and blessings.